What is anger trying to tell me?
I still have those moments of like things that could trigger me about church life and all of that stuff. And I'm like, that was still something I loved. Like everything we did was about that. And then the next day it's just all gone. And I'm supposed to just like get over that. Like that was really hard. So it was like I had a lot to process. I didn't like how it made me feel day to day.
And it makes sense because something precious was damaged. Something sacred was violated. Trust was broken. Safety was shattered, the whole 9 yards. The woman who says that, I have every right to be angry. Honestly, you are exactly correct.
But the freedom is this. I refuse to let what happened become who I become.
Welcome to Lights On. Laura Lentz and your co-host, Carl Lentz. We love you. We're glad you're here. If you are brand new to our podcast, welcome. Subscribe, link, share, do all the stuff. Lozzie, how you feeling? You look great. Nick's in 5.
Nick's in 5.
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
How's June treating you? I know how it's treating me. We're broke. We've been broke in June.
For 22 years. Well, since all three have been here.
The fray, all you parents, you understand this. Anybody out there who has children that were born in succession like we do?
No. People don't understand. Ours are all born 4 days apart.
In the month of June.
In the month of June. So June 1st, June 5th, and June 9th.
Yeah. So we just don't ever have any money.
Never.
It just goes. So
it's awful.
We're dealing with...
Every 6 months, really, because it's that and then freaking Christmas.
It's true.
Oh.
It's true. It's lovely. We're glad you're born and you're expensive little buggers.
This is true.
Expensive. And the older they get, he goes from expensive toys to just like, it's starting to feel obligatory. I'm starting to wonder, any other parent out there relate to this when you want to ask your kids like, hey, when do you think you're old enough to not get stuff from us?
Yeah, when's the birthday thing done?
So we're there. We're getting there, but it feels good. We've had some fun. We've had some fun in June. It feels good. It's hot. It's hot like Hades here in Tulsa.
That is true.
I love you. Anything you want to say before we get rolling? We got something fantastic. And I want to give a shout out to the people. I mean, we meet people a lot in this chapter who are really encouraging. And for those of you that have been a part of this pod journey, we're glad you're here. It's so much fun to do this. We love it. I saw this lady at I was at Hobby Lobby, which is I had no idea how
so
great.
Weird that you went to Hobby Lobby.
I like it. I go there sometimes. It doesn't make any sense, but I was finding something. And this lady comes up to me and she goes, she's staring at me. She works at Hobby Lobby. I asked her for...
you were looking for bracelets or something.
I asked for help. She comes over and she helped me find this little bead. And she goes, has anybody ever told you look exactly like this guy, Carl Lentz? So I was like, I hear that a lot. She's like, I mean, it is uncanny. I mean, you look exactly like this guy. Do you know anything about him? I'm like, I do. And this isn't the first time I've heard this. I hear this. She's like,
you're so mean.
It's crazy. I said, you know what's even funnier is that's my name. And then it kind of dawned on her and she just broke down into tears. It was so sweet.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I just hugged her. I said, and she said, I love your wife and I love your podcast and she just burst into tears, which happens often.
All the time.
Because if you resonate with this podcast, it means you're familiar with healing and pain. And it was just cool. It was fun. And she said, what are you doing in Tulsa? I was like, I live here. This is where I live. But she's like, I just didn't think it was beautiful. But
I mean, fair enough, because who thinks that Carl Lentz is going to go into Hobby Lobby?
Me. But you know what's cool?
Looking for crafts.
I thought about this the other day, because someone had said to me, like, hey, man, I'm really sorry for, the way the church treated y'all. And I like being able to stop people and say, I don't know what narrative you heard, but the church was very loving to us. People were very kind to us. There were some who didn't share that sentiment, but the overriding thing, like some people carry bitterness on our behalf.
Right.
I tell people, I'm like, no, they're like the vast majority of people were really incredible.
Yeah.
Pastors from all over the world did reach out and help me in particular. And I love being able to bring light to that, years later, because people still carry some of those narratives about pastors who follow all that stuff. And it's just cool to be able to tell, like, I've had the most encouraging encounters with people the whole way through our journey. And I'm grateful. So for those of you who, if you do run into people on the street whether, you know, they have a podcast or not, and you feel like saying something encouraging, no one's ever been like, no, I don't have time to be
Right.
encouraged. You know, it's
Yeah.
very sweet. And people always just want to talk to me about you. I'm like, I get it. Me too. Like, I like you, but I love your wife. I'm like, I've been hearing that my whole life. I always used to say to our church, like, if you have a problem with me, I get it. You know, I have a personality that you could love it or hate it.
Right.
But if you got a problem with Laura Lentz, you're a terrible person. There's just nothing not to love about you. You're just that.
Oh,
You're just
thanks.
that person. Everybody who knows you agrees. Let's do this. So we're gonna get into something that's pretty awesome today. We get a question that is thematic, and we normally wait till we have enough, you know, intel on it to really give it some light. And if you wanted to settle in and listen to this, we're going to talk about when anger is trying to help you, because the question is not whether somebody has a right to be angry, and the context can be anything. We're going to lean heavy into relationships, infidelity and betrayal and that kind of thing. But everybody asks about anger because it's so present. And the question that we get people to ask is not whether your anger is justified, but is your anger helping you heal, or is it helping you stay hurt? And we get so many questions about it that we're like, let's try to give some hope here. And before you turn this off and you're like, oh, I'm tired of hearing about, you know, anger and conflict and resentment, and this comes with betrayal, let me tell you why this conversation matters. This is important because the research alone is fascinating. One of the biggest predictors in relationship distress, it's not conflict, it's not even disagreement, it's not even anger itself. It's when anger becomes contempt, criticism, defensiveness, and then just the stonewalling. In other words, anger is not what destroys relationships.
Right.
It's unmanaged anger. It's anger that has no owner. It's a free agent doing what it wants to do. And everybody deals with this. Everybody is going to feel anger. And it's anger that never gets understood, anger that never gets processed, anger that becomes an identity. That's the issue. And if you have any hope of navigating through betrayal and infidelity, this is a big freaking deal. That's the only time I'm going to use the word freaking.
Please.
But it's helpful for everybody, but especially if you're in the situation and you have been betrayed, or you're in my shoes and you were somebody who committed trust-breaking, you know, things.
The betrayer.
Plus, the betrayer. If you're the betrayer, like me, listen, because we can help you on this. We can give you ideas. And if this is the first time you're here to our pod, we have all the answers. That's what we love. Every single answer to the tough questions.
God.
We got them. But we're going to give some hope here today, because after betrayal, especially, anger is one of the first emotions that shows up. And it makes sense because something precious was damaged.
And that anger can stay for a really long time.
It can fester. Mm-hmm. Something sacred was violated. Trust was broken. Safety was shattered, the whole 9 yards. And the problem is that many people don't do the right thing with their anger. And it does not lead to healing. So here's what we're going to do today. If you want to know where we're headed, we're going to do this quickly. We're going to talk about the problem that anger presents. We're going to talk about a distinction that we found that really gave us healing. There's one word flip that you're going to hear today that it might work for you too. And then we're going to talk about what's available if you learn how to handle anger in a healthy way. And the question we got is this, from a really beautiful person who wrote in a heartfelt question that we hear a variation of, and it sounds like this: I have every right to be angry at my husband, but I can feel it turning me into somebody that I don't want to be.
Right.
How do I let go of my anger without letting him off the hook? Real. Thank you for sending that in. Lights On podcast. Let's get into it. Lights On is proud to partner with God Behind Bars, one of the greatest organizations I've ever seen in my life. Talk about bringing light into dark places. If you are interested in being a part of any movement that really matters, please go check out God Behind Bars today online. Go check out all that they have. Jake and his team, they're changing lives every single day. I'm so proud that this podcast is attached to them. And if you're interested, how can I bring light to somebody today? Go check out God Behind Bars. You can write letters, you can volunteer, you can be a part of something that really changes lives for many. God Behind Bars, check it out today. Leslie Jane, anger is real. I know you've walked through it.
How do you know?
What's the anger thing been like for you in our journey? Because you're a very kind, loving, compassionate person, and you're not absolved of feeling angry at times.
Yeah. It can come out of nowhere, but it is one of those things you have to keep in check. Like, I think I did a lot of work in the beginning to help with that, but it is part of the process. So it's part of getting through it. You have to have some of that anger and you have to be able to get it out. If you don't get it out, that's going to be the problem. So for me, I was really intent on, and I talked to my therapist about it a lot, just like this lady saying, I'm angry. Like, I lost everything. I lost my church family. I lost my friends. I lost, we had to move states. We had to move, everything was ripped from me. So it was like I had a lot to process, and I'm not that type of person. So I didn't like that feeling. Like she's saying, I didn't like how it made me feel day to day. And so it was a big thing for me to work through. My therapist actually wrote a book on this, on anger.
What's it called? Overcoming Infidelity by Laura and Carl Lentz, coming out in October. Oh, my bad. No?
No, it's called, now I can't remember it.
It was good. I remember you always reading
The
that.
Betrayal. Shoot.
We'll put it in the
I'll
comments.
have to, yeah, I
check
can
out
look
the
it up.
comments. I always wanted to say that. I never say cool podcast.
I'll put it in the
things like that.
comments.
Put it in the comments, chat.
But it is a really good book on anger, betrayal, and like what it does to you, because she talks about how it can stay.
Yes.
And so you have to deal with it.
And we're going to show you exactly how. But I remember one in particular thing that you were able to communicate. We're going to show you how to do this. But you were saying, I'm angry that I had no choice in this.
Yes.
Like, it's easier for me because these are my consequences for my actions. So yeah, we lost the church that we loved. We had to move. We had to do all this stuff because I did this. You did not.
Right.
And you had to deal with it. And I remember you not being able to understand what emotion it was. And then I remember a couple years in, you're like, I know what it is. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
I'm angry that everything I loved was taken from me.
Well, and I think even 6 years in, I still have those moments of like, especially when I hear people talk about New York or like see things online, things that could trigger me about church life and all of that stuff. And I'm like, that was still something I loved. Like, it was literally one day, everything we did was about that. And then the next day it's just all gone. And I'm supposed to just like get over that. Like, that was really hard. So it was a lot to process.
So to her question, she goes, I want to let it go. Don't want to become this person, but I don't want him to get let off the hook. What do I do? You relate to that.
100%. And I think it captures the tension perfectly. Most people aren't afraid that their anger is unjustified. They're afraid that if they release their anger, somehow what happened won't matter anymore. And that's a big deal. They're afraid forgiveness means approval.
Yeah.
And they're afraid healing means minimizing. And none of those things are true. Because letting go of anger is about your health.
Your health.
So for me, it was a big thing. I didn't want to sit in those feelings. So I worked really hard. And that was my goal, was to move through that, not quickly or anything like that, but just to process it, because it was affecting my health. Like 2 years in, I was like, my hormones were everywhere. My cortisol levels were out of whack.
Before you had the perimenopause excuse.
Yes, exactly. And so... And your cortisol levels are affected by stress and mood and all of those things. And so I wasn't sleeping properly. All of those things were because of some of these emotions I was having, and I had to process those.
Let me add this, babe, because this is a big deal. If you remotely feel like, to this beautiful person, if you remote, or any woman especially dealing with this, coming off the back of infidelity, if you remotely feel like anything you do lets this guy off the hook, he's the wrong guy to be with, completely. Because a man that takes ownership of this kind of stuff, that's never going to be a real fear.
Right.
That he's going to, like, when you take ownership of what you have done as a man, you keep the hook in you forever.
That's what it should be.
You will never forget what happened.
Right.
You will never forget the consequences. And that's the way it should be. He'll use that hook. I use that hook for the rest of my life to remind me why I'm a new man, why I will never relent on growth, why I will never, ever stop working to be the most honest man I can be. I want that hook. So if you ever sense, as the one who's been betrayed, that the person on the other side of the table is trying to get off the hook, listen to that signal. That's a big deal. You've already got evidence that you need. So, like, you don't want to be around somebody who you're like, man, if I don't hold you accountable, you're going to act like nothing happened.
Yeah, and I know by your responses and your reactions daily that you were familiar with your hooks and what you did. And that gives me even more peace. And I get to make sure that it's healthy growth and never the shame, because that helps no one.
Yeah.
And then the women who try to shame their
There are
man
many of these ladies
Yeah.
out there.
are in reality, they're really just crushing everything
Yeah.
they said they wanted.
Yeah.
And, I want a strong, a confident, a healthy man. Well, all those things, the shame destroys if you are doing that. So if you are tempted to shame your man, find a different way to communicate what you're after, because shame has never, ever pushed a man into greater things.
But that's, I can't say it any better.
Well, I think that
Because-
shame, you're already filled with it. So the more a woman
Yeah.
brings you down, that's not helping
Well,
anyone.
Normally a woman would say in pushback, well, he doesn't look like he's dealing with shame.
Right.
First of all, shame, that's why even the concept where people are like, you should be ashamed of yourself. What are you saying?
Mhm.
I should condemn myself? It's the dumbest phrase.
Right.
Because if I'm ashamed, I am now back into the very selfish shell of a man where I'm thinking about myself. Again, I've said this on the podcast. If you're brand new, shame in my context was the most selfish emotion I could ever feel, to walk around and feeling shame, because that's not about you. That's not about my kids. That's not about what the life we can build. It's what I did that made me look bad. That's not real. You can feel conviction. And I know sometimes we'll help a wife find words that are more like, I want to know that my man feels the conviction
Right.
of what he did. Condemnation. I want my man to be condemned. Condemn means sentence for life. Conviction means I feel a prompting to change my life.
Correct.
So that's fair. If you don't see that in your man, good, but shaming him isn't going to get there.
Yep.
So there's a different way to look at it. Like it might not appear that he's owning his choices. It might not appear that you understand the impact of your actions, but to be like, you're a piece of crap and you should remember what you did. And that's not helping anybody. You might feel better in the moment, but it's not helping the man.
Yeah.
And so let me do this. Let me start with a foundational reality that most people have been taught about anger. And it sounds a little bit like this. Like it's always two things. This is what most people, including us for a degree, you're going to find this out quickly. They think anger is two things. Anger is bad or anger is justified. Both are incomplete.
Mhm.
Anger is information. That's the best way to hold it. Anger is often, especially if you want to go nervous system style, it's your nervous system saying something important is happening right here. So the goal is never to suppress it. It's never to push it away. The goal is to understand, what is anger trying to tell me? If you can get that, you will begin to win again when it comes to the anger that might be affecting your life in a terrible and destructive way. What is this anger trying to tell me?
Yeah. And that's important because all the emotions are messengers.
Every emotion.
They tell us something. They point us to something. The problem comes when we stop listening to the message and start living inside the emotion.
Yes.
And that's a prison
Yeah.
that can be really hard to get out of.
Here's the problem. The woman who asked, I have every right to be angry. The woman who says that, I have every right to be angry. Honestly, you are exactly correct. You have every single right to be angry. The issue is not whether anger is justified. You're justified in your anger about what I did. The issue is what happens when justified anger becomes your permanent residence.
Right.
That's the issue, because eventually anger stops serving justice. That's what people don't get. It starts consuming the person that carries it. We all know these people who are consumed by anger. You can be right and you can still be suffering. Who's winning in that scenario? Well, I'm angry because you deserve it. Cool. We're there. Who's winning? Who's getting helped? I mean, that to me is not a scenario anybody should ever want to be in. And you have the right to be angry every single day, Laura Lentz. And what exactly would that accomplish? What would that do to the atmosphere of our home? What would angry Laura be bringing to the table? And you'd have every right to do it. Like, and a lot of women stay there for so long. I've heard you have conversations lovingly pleading with women to say, you got to let that go. You have to change that. You have to use that emotion and you have to shift to something that's going to help you. Because it's not that you can't. I can't believe that I am angry. We get that. What is it doing for you? And this goes
Right.
across the board. Whatever you're angry about today, you got to start asking better questions about your anger, because anger is a beautiful signal. It is a beautiful superpower if you can learn how to use it for your resourceful gain rather than your own little, internal destruction.
Yeah, I think that's where so many people get stuck. They
For sure.
spend years proving that they have the right to be angry, but
Right.
never stop to ask whether their anger is helping them heal. And the question isn't whether you have the right to feel it. The question is whether it's helping you become who you want to become. And anger for me is so far from who I am. Like, I love life. I love people. I love love. I believe the best in people. So when anger shows up in me, I'm very, very careful with it because it will change me as a person. And that's not the version of me I want anything to do with. And angry women are terrible to be around.
They are the worst.
They're critical, they're defensive, verbally not pleasant. Like, and I want no parts of it.
I see angry women sometimes and I'm like, I thank God I'm married to the most confidently pleasant human being. Like, you have to move your giant ponytail and your earrings away.
That
But
was you last week.
when you're around angry people, you just feel terrible. And you're like, why? And it's like everything. Their face is angry. Their tone is angry. Their opinion is angry. It turns somebody who's beautiful into somebody that can be brutal with the way that they show up. And I just feel like there's a better way to hold it. And there is a distinction that we learned that really helps. It helps me all the time. It's who versus what. Who versus what. And a lot of people don't even realize there's a difference. So if you ask somebody, who are you angry at? Most people would say, my husband, meaning the person who did this, the person who lied, the person who betrayed me, the person who caused all this pain. That's who I'm angry at. We always move people from that into what we think is a better question. So listen, if you're tracking, it's a better question. What are you angry about? Good question. Who are you angry at? Cool. What are you angry about? Actually, that's the one where you start to get healing. Now the answers get deeper. Oh, I'm angry at them. The thing I'm angry about the betrayal, the deception, the loss, the humiliation, the years, the broken trust, the shattered future, the grief, the uncertainty. Now all these words start coming out. Now you're like, cool. Like, now you're getting to a place where you can get some healing. But often the husband or the betrayer is just a container. But the pain is actually the target that never gets help or healing. And that isn't where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you've moved from, I'm angry at that person. Cool. What's even bigger is the what.
Yeah.
That's where all the power is.
Yeah, and this is why it matters so much, because if you think your anger is only about a person, your entire healing journey becomes focused on that person. What they're doing, what they're not doing, whether they've changed or whether they've suffered enough. That's a big one.
Huge.
Whether they've paid enough. But when you realize you're actually angry about the loss, the grief, the fear, the shattered safety, suddenly you can begin healing those things. And you can't heal betrayal by staring at the betrayer forever. At some point, you have to turn toward the wound itself, and that changes everything.
And you see this all the time where somebody's angry at a person. And I told a friend this the other day. I'm like, man, you realize it ends up being a punk move. Like, that person has moved on, and they hold power over your life. Go underneath it. Like, so I'm mad at that person. Yeah, but you're mad at the person for what they did, which was not see you. So let's work on that and then release this person. Like, the worst thing is when someone you're angry at hurt you once and every day they hurt you because you're waiting for them to change something in you. And it doesn't work like that. So what you just said is really beautiful, babe. I think once we identify what we're angry about, we can actually address it, which brings us to my favorite term, which is righteous anger. And I think people hear that phrase, stick with me on this, and they immediately think we're talking about a religious concept. It is so much bigger than that. We're talking about the difference between anger that serves healing and anger that serves destruction. And for sure, the Bible points to this. In your anger, do not sin. We know that anger is not the issue. It's what anger will cause you to do. It is possible to be angry and healthy. And we thought it would help. Let me give you the quickest breakdown I can of how to know whether your anger is righteous or whether it's fruitless. Because there's a lot of people who got righteous anger. By the way, quick tip. If you're really angry about something, it will cause you to act on it. There are often people who are like, I'm so angry at something. And I'm going to type my comment and my opinion. You're not really, you're bothered. You're not angry. You're not angry enough to do something about it. You feel better because I'm angry at Donald Trump. If you're not angry enough to go to the Capitol and, get a degree and change law. I'm angry about this. Cool. Show me. You might be bothered, but anger that's righteous will force you to change your life because of it. That's the beauty of it. It could be like this amazing propeller into something that's better. But righteous anger points to what matters. Unhealthy anger demands payment. Pay me. There's never enough. Like, what would be enough? That's the question that comes up. So righteous anger demands healing. Unhealthy anger wants punishment. This episode of the Lights On podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. So for some people, summer is their favorite time of the year. We would probably agree. Vacations, longer days, family time. For other people, it can feel really overwhelming. And before you know it, you're counting down the days until life feels normal again. What we've learned is that thriving does not happen by accident. How are you doing? What do you need? What's helping you stay healthy, grounded, and connected during this season? And that's one of the reasons therapy can be so valuable. It can help you better understand your needs and feel more confident in setting boundaries and create a version of summer that actually feels good instead of simply trying to get through it. So BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. 30,000 therapists and more than 6 million people have been served globally. And they help match people with their therapists based on their needs and preferences. So if the fit isn't right, you can switch to a different therapist from any of their recommendations at any time. It's a beautiful option. So sign up today and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lightson. Thank God you're not a punisher. I want you to feel punished. No. Righteous anger is I want us to heal.
Right.
Righteous anger wants restoration. Doesn't mean you're going to be back in a relationship. It means something in you's been restored. Unhealthy anger still has a scoreboard. Well, you did this. You're not measuring up here. I'm still mad. That's fruitless. Your anger is stupid. It's causing you to be stupid.
Right.
Righteous anger creates clarity. That's the beauty of it. Unhealthy anger shoots broadly and constantly. Righteous anger starts to get really precise. Unhealthy anger is like a drive-by shooting. Everybody gets shot. But when it's righteous, and you can start to acutely pick out what's going on, now you're getting some momentum and some healing and some power. So I think that's a huge deal, is for you to understand that if you're listening, is my anger leading to healthy things or is it making me worse?
Right. That's good.
If you immediately know it's making you worse, this whole podcast is for you. It's going to lead you on a journey to discover what's really the issue. And now you're going to be free, which is really encouraging.
Yes.
Do you agree with this?
Yes, totally. The biggest difference for me is that healthy anger says something important happened and we need to deal with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Unhealthy anger says I need someone to suffer as much as I suffered. And one leads toward healthy healing and the other keeps everyone trapped.
And babe, what's interesting about that, it's so true. Unhealthy anger is I want you to suffer like me. I can't.
Right.
So you're starting on a premise that I can never understand what you went through. I can never relate to it. I can try my best. But if you're waiting for me to hurt like you hurt, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that you're not an unhealthy, weirdly angry woman, because it'd be the crappiest life ever.
Yeah. The unhealthy anger keeps everybody trapped.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hurt. Everybody has to hurt. I'm sad. Then everybody has to be sad. Now everybody is hurting because we can't control or understand our anger. Thank God it does not have to be like that.
No. That would be the worst way to live. So it brings us to a really important question. By the way, if you are listening and you're angry about your TV choices, Wonder Project. Gotcha. Now I'm going to break for commercial. We love the Wonder Project. They're a huge part of this pod. I love working with them.
Yes.
It is one of the first streaming systems, y'all. Listen, don't check out just yet. That gives you some content that's better for your soul. It's faith-based. It's a streaming service that has stuff curated for you. So don't get angry tonight when you watch TV and you're like, there's so many choices. Get the Wonder Project. Download the app. It's awesome. Back to the podcast. Maybe the most important question of the entire conversation. It is not, how do I get rid of my anger? Better. What's my anger sitting on top of? What is it a cover for? So my submission to you as you listen in your car right now, if you're driving and you know, I'm angry at, what if it's not what you think it is? What if anger is a setup? What if it is a cover? Ask yourself, what's it covering? Because anger is rarely the deepest emotion in the room. Rarely. Anger might be sitting on the top of, you can name it, grief, fear, loss, rejection, heartbreak, humiliation, disappointment. When you get curious about what's underneath the anger, which most people never do, they cannot sit still long enough. So they're the fruitless people raging at the wrong machine. You stop fighting the smoke and you start healing the actual fire. Anger is always, I shouldn't say always, anger is usually a cover for something deep, a wound, a fear, a boundary, a value, a dream that was damaged. And when you get curious about what is covering this thing, you begin to understand what it came to teach you. Every time I feel anger walk into my soul, I go, what are you trying to teach me about me? I feel angry right now. Why? What's this really about? And that little second of being present with that feeling makes you make less dumb decisions.
Yeah.
You make less regrettable choices. And it's true as the day is long. If you can just sit there long enough, say, what's this cover for? You're in good territory. You're in healthy territory.
Yeah. And often beneath that anger is something more, even more vulnerable.
Yes.
And it's typically really hard to even share, but it's like sadness, fear, grief, disappointment, helplessness. Those emotions can feel super scary, and anger often feels stronger and better because you can get that rage and lash out at people, and in your mind you can justify it.
Okay, so you were asking me earlier today, like, why do men struggle with this? Let me tell you why men normally struggle with their anger, because it feels more manly to be angry. It feels more like, I'm angry. I'm an angry man.
Yeah.
I'm angry. It doesn't feel as manly, if you have a bad definition of manly, to be vulnerable. And that's the only way to get to the bottom of your anger. It's hard for men to do this because, like, I'm just angry. And if you hug a guy long enough, the anger will subside. And then they say what's really going on. But if you've ever wondered why men struggle so much with anger, it's because to really get to the bottom of it, you got to be honest and you got to be vulnerable. These are not words that a lot of men love. More men are starting to love these words because you realize that's really what being a man is about. This fake tough guy, ragey man, that's not a man, that's a little boy who cannot control his emotions and doesn't understand his emotions. He just keeps getting older. I think becoming a man of honor and integrity includes getting honest with yourself and being cool with that.
Yeah, I think real healing usually happens when we become willing to explore what's underneath.
And that's not a fun journey. I think,
No,
let
it's
me just say this, the sneaky killer, babe, is people being mad at themselves.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of guys and I totally relate to this. I think I was mad at myself for a long time, in that internal voice. If you're mad at yourself today, I hear you. Listen to me closely. It's not going to work for you. Being mad at yourself, it's not real, number one, because there's something underneath it. But you tell me, when is someone being mad at you ever motivated you? My internal dialogue when I was in that chapter of being mad at myself, it sounded like this. I cannot believe I did this. I cannot believe this is my life. I cannot believe I did this to my family. I'm so mad. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at myself. That's a terrible personal trainer. All that did was make me very dangerous in the worst way. One push, one wrong word, one thing that didn't go my way, angry. In fact, when we were our first chapter in Florida, when I had no clue yet about how to really identify my anger, I remember went to go play basketball, and somebody said one thing, and I love talking on the basketball court. That's my favorite thing to do.
I always know when you've played basketball because
my
you come
voice is
home
hoarse.
with a
Absolutely.
hoarse
Normally
voice.
it's awesome, and it's always been like a fun part, but not in this chapter. I didn't know anybody in the gym, didn't want to be where I was, didn't want to live in Florida, didn't want to go to this gym, didn't know anybody. And I just came to hoop, and some guy said one thing to me, and I said things that I didn't even recognize to this person, and my fists were clenched, and I walked off the court mid-game, which I've never done before, and I said, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
I got work to do, and I made a choice that day to go, that's never the guy I want to be, because I've hooped with those guys my whole life. The guys who will get in a fight over a call, and you're like, this ain't about the call. I'm just mad because he was out, not it. Nah, man, like, even if that's true, it shouldn't cause you to have a physical assault charge coming your way.
Right.
Like, and for me, that was my day where I just go, oh, interesting. Something's going on here, because I'm not that angry that this guy said that. Something else is going on. And I think that's the kind of awareness you got to get really comfortable with if you're listening. Otherwise, it's going to rob you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really, and we dealt with this, with friends. I thought I was angry at some friends, angry, and for abandoning me, explosively angry. Like, I'd be happy, I'd be fine. And then one thought about one friend who didn't show up the way that I wanted them to show up, and I would be angry. At the kids, at everything. And then I was like, where is this coming from? And I mean, my mental dialogue sounded like this, like, you sorry, sycophantic, fake person who still preaches about loyalty and friendship. You bum. You fake. I got caught being a fake. You're still a fake in plain sight. And oh my gosh, I mean, I would have hypothetical conversations with these people. Like, you think you're going to get away with this? You think because I'm sitting under rubble and you vanished? And I go, oh, well, who am I? I'm a terrible person right now. I had to go, you know what the truth was? I was sad.
Yeah.
I was sad.
Yeah.
It makes me emotional even now. That's where the healing is. Because I wasn't angry at these people. I was sad. And that's scary to think about. I'm like, oh, I just miss some of my friends. I'm sad that the consequence of my actions included some relational breaks. The way they responded, some of these guys, horrible. People can judge it all they want, and they're probably right. But from my end, angry at them did nothing but make me feel worse. The moment I started to go, no, I'm not angry at you. I'm sad, and I feel loss, and I feel heartbreak. That I can heal. And that's where I started to get some momentum in my spirit, and I started to release people. And you've done that too.
Yeah, I think that's where the peace becomes available when you are ready to get honest about what is hurting. Because the goal is not let him off the hook. Goal is not also like forget what happened.
No, that's a big deal. Hold on, because that's what some people always hear. And it reveals their own fear. Like, wait. If I stop being mad at him, what if he relax?
Yeah.
That's not the goal. Is not minimizing anything. The goal is you living, healthy. Go ahead.
Right,
And make sure people hear that.
It's also not act like it wasn't a big deal,
No.
because it definitely is.
Deal. Yeah.
But the freedom is this: I refuse to let what happened become who I become.
Lights On is proud to partner with Wonder Project. Wonder Project can be your new entertainment home on Prime Video. It's the first place to go when you want courageous stories that inspire hope and restore faith in things worth believing in. The stories we let into our homes, they matter. We know this. They shape how we see the world, which is why being intentional about what you watch it is so worth it. Finding entertainment that actually reflects your faith and your values used to feel like a step down, a compromise. Every time, but Wonder fixes that finally. Original series and films like The House of David, It's Not Like That, Sarah's Oil, plus curated titles added every single month, all in one place. So all my fellow parents out there, listen up. No more endless scrolling and debating about what to watch. Wonder makes it simple with content that is already safe and still incredible. So family show watching as a crew just got a little bit easier. To get started, it takes about 30 seconds. Open Prime Video, go to subscriptions, add Wonder Project, and you're done. No new app, no new login. Start your free trial today. I refuse to let what happened become what I become. That's the choice people have to make. If you don't make that choice, you will become heartbreak. You will become destruction. You will become wounded forever. And I think we like telling people what happened matters. What happened was wrong. What happened created consequences, but you got to refuse. If you're listening, you got to refuse to let the injury become your identity. You're built for more than that. I refuse to let the betrayal write the rest of my story. Refuse to let anger become my permanent address. I visit Angertown from time to time. There's a Buc-ee's there that I like, but I gotta leave. I can't. You can't live at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
If anger was a rest stop, it would be Buc-ee's. There's so much in there. I got a sombrero in there the other day. I got 3 different lighters. I got a can opener in the shape of a boot. But I had to leave Buc-ee's at some point because I'm not supposed to live at Buc-ee's. Some people live in their Buc-ee anger. Not great. Not going to be a good place to build a home. And you got to make that choice yourself. So if you're asking, great, what do I do now? Because I personally loathe the podcasts that give you a bunch of like data, but there's nowhere to go with it. I hate that. I used to hate that about preachers as well. That's why we built our house on practical handles. Let me do that here for you if you're listening. What do you do now? If you're listening and you're like, okay, yeah. My anger has been misidentified. I'm an angry guy or I'm an angry woman. And I believe you two. I believe y'all, because if we're not mad at each other, if Laura's not mad at me, maybe we know what we're talking about here because she has every right to be mad, but anger is not our story. Maybe you relate to that. Let me give you 3 options. 3 options with anger that most people unconsciously choose without knowing that you can articulate what they are, okay? Option number 1, lean in, listen. You can manage it. This is a great option that most people pick. Great. It's like the equivalent would be driving your car with the engine light on.
Which is most of our
You notice
family.
the light. You know something's wrong. You know that the car's not acting right, but instead of fixing it, you just learn how to drive around it. And the car still moves and you still get to work, life still functions, but the problem remains. Your car is going to blow up. Eventually, the damage will get worse. That's what people do with anger. They become highly functioning while carrying something that still needs attention. It's like carrying a briefcase full of bricks. Imagine that.
Mm.
First, it's heavy, and then your body starts to adapt. And after a while, you barely notice it anymore, but your back hurts. You tell yourself this isn't that bad, but you're exhausted all the time. If you're an anger manager out there and you realize that now I am tired all the time, it's because you're carrying bricks on your back for no reason. You're carrying weight that was never meant to be permanent. Managing anger looks exactly like that. You get stronger at carrying it, but you never get lighter. Who wants that? I don't recommend that. Option 1, manage it. Option 2, suppress it. How's suppression work for anybody in any facet of life? This is shoving all of your dirty clothes into the closet. The room looks clean.
My son.
Everybody in your family but you. Visitors think everything's organized. You can convince yourself everything's fine. My house is clean, but eventually the closet door starts to leak into the hallway. By the way, y'all, Laura had an anger outburst the other day where I saw shoes flying through the house. And me and the kids were like, what's going on? Laura's like, I'm sick of these shoes. Everybody's shoes, can't pick up your shoe, over and over again.
It's just so ridiculous.
That is what happens if you try to suppress it. Eventually, it falls out. Suppressed anger works exactly like that. The issue is not whether it exists, y'all. The issue is, are you willing to see it for what it is? If you treat your anger like a beach ball underwater, which is a fun concept, you might be able to pull it off for a while, but it requires constant freaking energy. Eventually, it's going to break through the surface. And when it does, it'll be way more explosive than you thought it would be or that you even planned for it to be. And it wouldn't have been that explosive if you never would have put that beach ball under the water in the first place. That's people who suppress it. They're like, I'm good. Everything's good. Didn't you love those people? It's like, I'm fine. You're not fine. You're not fine. Nothing's fine I'm fine. I got over everything. No, you have not. You're suppressing it. I do not recommend option 2. Leads us to option 3. Option 1, manage it. How's that working for you? Option 2, suppress it. How's that working for you with anything in your life that you're suppressing? Option 3, the Lights On podcast recommendation is to heal it. And I guess the equivalent would be like healing an infected wound. Nobody likes it. Very uncomfortable, sometimes painful. You'd rather leave it alone. This is my son with his broken foot, by the way. Roman had his first Muay Thai injury, broke the top of his foot. Kid refuses to let it heal. Refuses. I'm like, bro, you have to sit there.
Let
that thing heal. Wear the boot. The boot is whack. I know the boot is whack. You know what's whacker? Having a broken foot forever because yourself won't take the time to heal. Healing becomes possible the moment you stop covering it and treat it for what it is. That's what real anger work looks like. If you treat your anger, maybe this will help you kind of get a visual. If you treat your anger, listen to me closely if you're in your car. If you treat your anger like smoke and you allow it to lead you to the real fire, like the messenger that it is, you can put that fire out. Most people spend years yelling at the smoke, yelling at the smoke alarms, waving their hands, complaining about it, and they fight it. Healing asks a different question, and it always does. Where's this coming from? The goal is not to eliminate the smoke. The goal is to find the source of the fire in the first place, because once you find the fire, then you got something that can actually change. You got to be willing to look. You have to be willing to get curious. You have to be willing to understand what hurts, and I'm willing to grieve if I have to. That's a problem, babe, for a lot of guys. Because if I confront my anger, I have to admit that it's a loss and my heart is broken, and then I have to grieve. I don't know how to grieve. So people are like, I don't know how to do any of that, so I'm just going to stay angry. Face it down. Ask yourself, what is this anger sitting on top of? And you're going to find yourself in a place where you're like, man, I feel free. I feel a little bit better. We've chosen to heal anger. You've tried to manage. I've tried to manage it. Doesn't work. You're more of a suppressor than me. How does suppressing work for you?
It's terrible. Because it comes out in other ways.
It freaking leaks
when
everywhere.
when you try to push it down, it doesn't work.
By the way, Laura's the worst anger suppressor of all time because you're so pleasant. So anytime you're thinking a thought about me of something that I did, you're angry, I'm like, babe, you're the biggest, you'd be the worst gambler of all time. When Laura's about to cry, her neck turns red. When she gets fidgety, her starts to, you got so many easy, but when you're angry, it's your eyebrows.
Yeah.
One time I looked over at the couch and we're watching TV and I go, what you looking at, babe? And you go, huh, you. And I went, care to share? And you're like, yeah, no, you. And I thought, am I going to die later?
Yeah, right.
Do I need to sleep in the car? And I knew you were, because that's what people don't, and we get, you're always going to tell me later on, but most people stay right there.
Yeah.
And the man internalizes, you hate me.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many men I've sat across from on this side of the tracks who are like, I want to heal my marriage and show up, but my wife hates me. I'm like, no, I shouldn't hate you. Like, Carl, she hates me. And I'm like, ooh, that's a tough one. Can't do anything about that. You might want to just watch your back a little bit, but don't suppress it. Be angry. And you've had moments where, like, we have a rule in our house. We're not going to therapize this answer, so deal with it. I'm angry at you. Not just what you did, but at you. Okay, cool. And you don't stay there, and then we'll work it through, but you have to be honest.
You have to be able to let those feelings and those thoughts out.
Yeah.
I tell women all the time, you have to, and you can't, because we're codependent, most people who are in this, they don't want to hurt the other person, or they don't want to cause more drama and have to deal with the response.
You're causing drama. You're hurting more people.
So you just have to say it, and it's on your spouse or whoever it is that you're talking to. It's on them to handle their emotions and handle their response back.
Great.
And so you just have to say it, whatever it is. And you're like, if this causes 2 days of whatever, I'm saying it. And that's what I do. But
yeah, you do.
But you are so easy to talk to now, and and have been for many years, but so easy to if I'm having a tough moment, I can tell you that, and there's no it's not going to be a fight for 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I hear you, because what women need we're talking about women right now, but what I needed is you need someone to listen, not fix, validate your pain and your hurt and your anger.
Hey, I'll tell you this, be honest though. That's hard. And it
Very.
takes a lot of work. So if you're a man and you're in my shoes, let me just tell you ahead of time, if you want to like re-up on this, it's okay. Give yourself some grace. Like I had some trials and errors. Like when you be angry at me,
Yeah.
my nervous system, over the years has changed, but there have been times where I would defend right away, fight back, and I'd be like, dang it, this is not it. I have to re-up. But here's our thing. Our repair time is quick.
Yep.
So if you have been hurt because you've tried to share your anger and it wasn't received well, you can't stop trying. A lot of wives will say, oh, I've tried. You got to try again. Like, I
Keep
don't know what
going,
you
bro.
expect this dude who clearly has made dumb decisions. He's not going to become smart in a day.
Right.
He's not going to become smart in a decade. Like men take a while sometimes to have like the clarity you need to actually live healthy, especially off the back of decades of bad patterns.
Yes.
And the guy has to keep showing up. And it's that apology thing that I've learned to be really familiar with, where I say to you, I handled what you shared with me really badly. Please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
Can I speak to it now? Okay. Here's what was going on with me. Can you go back and say it again?
Yeah.
Because the moment you said, I'm angry that you did this, something it's almost like you can't even control it. You're like, well, you're defending.
It's a quick
you don't even want to
reaction,
defend.
yeah.
And then you got to go, hold on, I'm not going to stay there. A lot of people are like, it's just how no, that's not how I want to respond. So you have to be willing to come back. This episode of Lights On is sponsored by Policy Genius. And there's something about this time of year with summer coming right around the corner, being around family, thinking about fun. It just reminds you what actually matters in this life. And with that does come responsibility, taking care of your people, taking care of your kids, even your parents at times, thinking ahead, making sure things are in place. And that's why I do love what Policy Genius does. It makes getting life insurance feel straightforward instead of something you just keep putting off. Policy Genius is an online insurance marketplace that lets you compare quotes from top companies side by side for free. Their licensed team will help you find what fits you, coverage, pricing, all of it without the guesswork. This does not have to be an overwhelming thing, and that's why Policy Genius is so helpful. With them, you can see if you can find 20-year life insurance policies starting at just $276 a year for over $1 million in coverage. So head to policygenius.com to compare life insurance quotes from the top companies and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. It's a great time to take responsibility for the people you love the most. Check it out today.
Can you give people one practical
Yes.
thing
Yes,
that's
I
going to
can.
help with this?
I can. And I think it's simple. And it just echoes what we've been saying. Instead of asking yourself this week, why am I so angry? Because you probably think you already know that answer. Instead, ask yourself the simple question we gave you earlier, but I want you to track it. Okay, this week, start a journal. If you don't journal, you can't even get into heaven. I don't know why you wouldn't journal. But I want you to track it if you're listening and ask yourself this question. When you feel angry, don't say, why am I angry? Ask yourself this. What's my anger sitting on top of? What is my anger sitting on top of? Then you sit quietly for a minute and then finish the sentence. And this works. I got mountains of evidence over here. You can trust that this works. Underneath my anger, I feel. And just start writing. Don't try to make it pretty. Don't try to make it smart. I feel grief. I feel loss. I feel heartbreak. I feel rejected. I feel powerless. Just name it.
Mm-hmm.
Name it. Name it. Don't fix it. Don't judge it. Name it. And then sit in the win. The moment you name something, you can say, I'm on my journey to healing. I named it. And that's kind of the power. It's that simple, because the moment you name what's underneath your anger, that's the moment you stop fighting the smoke and started to find the fire. It's like these people who refuse to go to the doctor to get a diagnosis. So they'd rather sit there with the anxiety of, I could have 97 things. You might not. You might have a cold, but you got to go find out.
Yeah.
That's my challenge for you if you're listening. So if you're dealing with anger as the betrayer or the betrayed, both of you ask the same question. What's sitting underneath my anger? Then you start to heal. That's how you and I have become increasingly close, is because we won't let the anger get the weight. So we might have an angry interaction, angry words at each other, but we just know the power of healing. So it's like, hey, you know what? I wasn't angry at you. I'm feeling pressure. Or I feel crappy about myself today. And that's why I did that. And I want to apologize for it. I want to talk further about it. That's beautiful. And it's available to anybody who's willing to go a little bit deeper. So that's our submission today. We're going to end it there. And I think if you take some time this week. Ask yourself, like, do you want anger to be the narrator of your story? Or do you want healing to be? Make that choice. Nobody wants to be around angry people. Our world is filled with angry people. Righteous anger can propel you to get to somewhere better if you handle it right. That is our submission today. Lights on. So email us, contact us. We spend a lot of time reading from you to even know what's helpful on this podcast. So thank you for doing that. And we got a book coming out in a couple months. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. And we love you. So subscribe, share. Any parting words from the Aussie beauty?
Nah.
Yeah, mate. Nah.
Nah.
Yeah. If you want to, as you go today, if you want to speak Australian for the rest of the day, just in all of your sentences,
Just do
eliminate the last 3 letters in each word and speak up. Yeah. So even if you had something to say that was important, you can do
I do that
you can
still?
lose
I
all
don't
your
do that.
authority.
I don't do that
Yeah,
much
mate.
anymore.
Yeah. Upspeak. It's the quickest way to tell people you're not serious. Yeah.
You should give people.
I used to hear Aussie preachers. And I
Oh,
go,
yeah.
You're losing, bro. Like this is a matter of life and death. It doesn't sound the same when you go. It's a matter of life and death. Yeah. No, it's a matter of life and death. Land the plane. Yeah, mate.
Yeah, that was your.
Settled. Yeah. No, man. Why are you going up with that? Get that out of here. This is America. This is English. We invented this language.
No, you didn't.
We did.
We're closer
That's
to
its own podcast.
Oh
America,
my
babe.
God.
America.
America
You've been
is
in
not-
America for 2 decades. You're lucky to
know,
be here.
gosh.
Actually, I got to check your credentials.
I think I'm due to get my green card, or I have to become a citizen. But
you
then I've
want
got to
to?
learn all the things, like the independent. What's it called? The Declaration.
The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, do I have to learn
babe.
that?
The most important.
I'm not
We're done
learning
here.
that.
I'm not getting into this with you today on this podcast. You better know the Declaration of
Well,
Independence.
how would I know?
or I'll
I've
be
only
angry.
just learned
And you know what I'll
the
be angry
national
about?
anthem.
The anger will be a cover for my disdain.
But your
for
national anthem is
disrespect.
so confusing too.
Our national anthem is the greatest national anthem to ever be written.
Oh my gosh! Here
Hands
we go.
down. Bring your Aussie national anthem. Bring your breath. I'll bring your best. I'll bring Whitney Houston from the greatest Super Bowl performance of all time. Bring your Aussie. How does it start?
I can't even remember.
Nobody cares. We're out of here. Lights on. We love you. See you soon. Bye.
Australians, all let us
Terrible.
rejoice.
Star Spangled Banner for
And
the
there's
dub.
bombs and stuff in
Yeah, we got
yours.
bombs in ours. You don't have bombs in anything. We're out of here. Bye.
Bye.